Hi there, Oak class, and anybody else that's watching. This is Miss Hooper coming to you from her spare bedroom with a Dotty. Come on, Dot. Ready for Thursday night's bedtime story. Now, I've been inundated with requests for story times, and I'm trying to do one every other evening because otherwise I'm going to run out of books. So last story time, one of Miss Hooper's best friends, Frances, chose the text. Today, and I've already left a little clue to some people, somebody else that's very special to us at Chillmark chose this story today. And that person is Miss P. So hi Miss P, if you're watching, this one is especially for you. We really love you and we really miss you, and we hope that you are happy and well and keeping safe at home too. So enjoy. Now, I couldn't do a story for Miss P without a very special friend of mine. For those of you that don't know, this is George the Sloth, and Mrs. P bought me George for my birthday present, and he's very special to me, and he smells of lavender, which is amazing, and he is going to sit and watch the story next to Dotty, actually, who is also, if you can't see, she is also sat ready for the story. Baby girl, you gonna say hi? Oh, she is so pretty. Okay, so now that I am nicely snuggled up in my blanket, let's begin. So the story that Miss P has chosen for us today is The Snail and the Whale, and it's by one of our favourite authors, Oak Class. This is another one by Julia Donaldson, and the person that has drawn the pictures, the illustrator, is Axel Scheffer. So let's start. This is a tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. Does anybody know what a dock is? A dock is a place where a boat comes in to deliver the things that are on it. So if the boat has come in from a far off country with food perhaps, it comes into a dock and then everything gets taken off. As she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. Ah, the sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, which means a group. Usually you have a flock of sheep, but in this story we've got a flock of snails who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet! Don't wriggle! Sit still! Stay put!" But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, "I've got it! I'll hitch a lift." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Lift wanted around the world." She's a very clever snail. One of my other best friends, Laura, she's a globe-trotter, and she's feeling a bit sad at the minute because she isn't able to go anywhere. So Laura, if you're watching, maybe you should get yourself a sea snail to write you a message. Then maybe you'll get a lift. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright. A humpback whale, immense immensely long, which means he's enormous, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tail of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." I wonder where they're going to go. I'll give you a clue. Oh, class, we looked at these places on the earth. They are very cold, and you find them in the north and the south. Can you remember? This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far off lands. Gosh, that looks very, very chilly. Very chilly indeed. I'm not sure I'd want to be swimming in those waters in the North and the South Pole. Can you see there's some penguins and a leopard seal? We learnt about those, didn't we? I wonder what other animals they might see in those cold climates. With fiery mountains and golden sands. Wow, look how beautiful that is. My auntie likes to travel to places like this. Oh, look at beautiful. Where do you think they're going to go next? And how do you think she's feeling? Do you think she's feeling scared? Or do you think she's feeling excited? Talk to your grown-up about how you think that snail is feeling right now. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. She must have one sticky foot to stay on that whale's tail. Look, and she's screwing up her face, trying to hold on with all of her might. She's so brave. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideously toothy grins swam around the whale and the snail on his tail. Ba-dum, 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 da-da-da. Scary. If you could swim down to the bottom of the ocean, would you do it? This is the sky. So vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm with zigzag lightning, flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. My goodness me, look how thundery it is. That's very choppy water. I'm not sure I'd want to be swimming in there at the minute. Goodness me. And she gazed at the sky, the sea and the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all. And she said to the whale, "I feel so small." Have you ever felt really small? It's a funny feeling. Miss Hooper feels really, really small when she thinks about space. Why don't you just for a minute curl up as small as you can and pretend you're the snail on the whale's tail? But then came the day that the whale lost his way. These are speedboats running a race. How many can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. The shore is where the sand is. Is the water very deep at the shore? I don't think it is. What do you think might happen next? I'm not sure I can look. I'm going to show you first. Oh no! This is the tide slipping away. Oh no! Quick, whale, swim away! And this is the whale lying beached in the bay. Beached is a special word that they use for when fish or dolphins or whales get stuck on the sand because there's not any water for them to swim away. Quick! Off the sand! Go back to the sea! Cried the snail. I can't move on land. I'm too big, moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, I've got it, she cried, and she started to crawl. I must not fail, said the tiny snail. What's she going to do? How on earth is a tiny snail going to help a gigantic whale? I just don't know. Have you ever felt really helpless? It's not a very nice feeling, but the feeling you get after it when you've worked through the problem or you've helped somebody out, that's really great. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot. That's a different board, isn't it? We don't have a board like that. Oh, I wonder if you can remember. What time did we look at in one of our topics where they used to use blackboards for the teachers? I can hear you saying it. It was the Victorians, wasn't it? Let's hope she's not as mean as some of those other Victorian teachers. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail! A snail! The teacher turns pale. I don't think she likes mini beasts. She would have hated our topic. Look, say the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. And actually, it's really funny. I was having a look online earlier, and there is a clothing shop called Fat Face, and they have just released some clothes that have prints from the snail and the whale, and I believe they've got Save the Whale on them, and I think you can actually buy the snail and the whale from Fat Face, and I believe all the money that they get goes to helping marine animals like whales and things. So that might be worth having a look if you've got a birthday or something coming up. These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool. Nee-naw, 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 nee-naw. Goodness me, why did they call the fire people? There wasn't a fire, was there? Squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. Now that's very, very important, because if a dolphin or a whale does get beached, it's really important that their skin stays wet, because if it dries out, it makes them really, really poorly and they might die. Isn't that lovely though? The whole community is together helping. That's a little bit like our communities now. Like when I asked you to do your rainbow pictures to make people feel a little bit happy. That's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Wonderful. This is the tide coming into the bay. Oh, phew. And these are the villagers shouting, "Hooray!" as the whale and the snail travel safely away. Oh, thank goodness. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, "How time's flown, and haven't you grown?" And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, which means delicate, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. See, it doesn't matter how small you are, you can still make a difference. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. They're all off on an adventure. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpback whale. Oh, isn't that lovely? They're all off on an adventure together. A little bit like your home learning adventure at home. If you could, just close your eyes and imagine. We know all about the 7 continents. If you're not singing the continent song right now, you should be. Think about all of those 7 continents. Where would you go if you could go anywhere now? Oh my goodness, I think I would like to go somewhere hot. Maybe somewhere with a rainforest. Oh, that would be lovely. Talk to your grown-up or your brothers or sisters about where you would go if you could. Did you enjoy that story? I really liked reading that one, and I hope, Mrs. P, you enjoyed that too. So, George and I have been a little bit busy today, and the other day we asked you to do a hope rainbow. Now today I'm going to talk to you about another word, and I think this word is also really important right now because we are all in a bit of a strange situation, and I've drawn a little picture to go with it. So the word I would like you to think about tonight is this word. It's ohana. Gosh, that's a lovely word, isn't it? It's not from our country. In fact, ohana is a Hawaiian word, and it means family. And this is a quote from one of the Disney films that I absolutely love, which is Lilo and Stitch. And it says, family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. Now, your family might be your mummies and daddies and grannies and granddads and cousins and all sorts of things. But I don't class just those people as my family. I also class you guys as my family, my friends as my family, all the people that I love and I care about. So what I'd like you to do before you go to bed tonight is have a little think about somebody you care about. It might be a friend or a family member. And tomorrow morning maybe, make contact with them. Give them a phone call, write them a letter, send them a picture, just to let them know that they haven't been forgotten, they haven't been left behind. Because sometimes when we are kept inside our houses, there are some people that feel really, really trapped and feel really forgotten. So your hope rainbows will have helped with this because it makes everybody feel very much together. So just push that a little bit further. Contact somebody you might not have spoken to. Just let them know that you love them, you're thinking of them, and they're not forgotten because they're part of your family. Okay, so I'm going to pop that one down now. And I'm going to say good night, Oak Class. I really hope you enjoyed tonight's bedtime story, and I will see you again in a couple of days' time. Good night.